Hello and welcome to the GFW Radio podcast. This is the podcast for January 16th, 2007. I do not know what the date is because I've been on my ass for 2 weeks with pneumonia, and I'm finally back. Yay. I missed you guys. So since I was gone and came back, we find ourselves in a new room here. And Sean Malloy has been mysteriously and sinisterly replaced by Andrew Pfister.
True.
That scares me.
Little round.
He's trying to subvert us after we made fun of the What Up Yours cast last week.
Yeah, we can't make fun of him now this week because we have one of them in here.
We were making fun of. We were just trying to get in on the ratings.
It was a tribute, an homage. Right.
Kind of like the mini kiss of One Up Yours.
So I'll let you all introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started here. I am here with
Ryan Scott,
Darren Gladstone,
Shawn Elliott,
and Andrew Pfister on the mixing board. And I'm Jeff Green, and I was sick, and I'm sorry to be gone, and it really sucked being sick. I'll just have to get that out of the way first, because I couldn't play any games, I couldn't even read, I couldn't do anything except lay in bed. And the moral of all of this is don't go to Europe. Because they're dirty people over there. If you're going to take a vacation, don't go to a place where bathing is optional.
So where were you again?
I kid the Europeans.
I keyed.
I'm married to one.
Okay. So now here we are back in the Coney Island projects.
Yeah.
And actually, this is random. The only thing that this makes this not a non sequitur is that it has to do with geography. Someone just posted on our boards, why are the Ziff Davis offices located in California? Is it because they're to be close to Japan?
What?
So I immediately sticky that thread for everyone.
Wow, that is
just not going anywhere.
That is
Everyone needs to take a look at what that came out of that dude's
That's a little scary.
Yeah. So some people, of course, are just like, they're close to the Trans-Pacific Highway and this and that,
Japan's next to Oregon, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Hell. Close to Japan.
So that made me laugh, and it's making you laugh, so it was worth our time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're back, and I came back on a really, really good day because it's Burning Crusade Day. It makes me so happy because I came in and there it was waiting for me. I don't know how many of you in this room are actually going to play it or just like sell it on eBay, but we all got
I they're going to sell it.
No? I'm totally going to play it.
That's shifty.
Yeah, it is shifty.
I tried to I'm not going to be honest, I'm not going to play because I don't even have WoW installed. Right. First thing I did was take it over to someone else in the building that I know plays and said, hey man, look what I got for you. And then he ended up getting it. So here's the problem. That means I still have a collector's edition. I'd be more than happy to give it to one of our listeners.
A worthy listener.
Yeah, by the time we're done with this podcast, I'm going to have to find some kind of victory conditions. How am I going to determine who gets it? Mm-hmm. But I want to get it right out the door right away.
Maybe if it's someone how about if it's someone who beats you in open arena or something? One death match in an open arena?
Beat me in an open arena? I'm sure plenty of people could do that. I mean, that's the point.
But then you have to find the overlap of people who would be good at that, who also play WoW.
Yeah.
We'll by the end of the podcast, we'll come up with something, and we'll just have to shoot us an email today at our...
I think it's safe to say after this, though, that this truly is the podcast that will change everything.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're gonna use this phrase this entire podcast, maybe the next few podcasts, just because we know Ryan is sick of that phrase.
And we might actually get him to talk.
I hate you guys.
So what is this about? What are you talking about?
The thing that will change the thing that will change everything.
The blank that will change
everything. Put it this way: I know what you're talking about, but I'm playing devil's advocate for the listener who has no freaking clue what you're talking about.
When magazines use it, when TV shows use it, when
in any kind of serialized fiction, or in some cases, magazines.
24 used it already. They used it on like this. It's like the second episode of the new season, and it's already the episode that will change everything.
But doesn't everything
can't they wait for like episode 10?
Well, that's the thing.
To pull that out already.
I just flipped out on my blog and posted like all about this because I saw an ad for that 24 the other night, and you know what? It didn't change everything. I watched the episode.
It makes it so much better to know that for anyone that
it was a big deal, but it didn't change everything.
For everyone that did see Ryan's blog, know that he not only does he hunt and peck and stare at the keyboard, but he just mashes the shit out of his keyboard.
Yeah.
So if you want to imagine him like angry,
you know what? But he is the champion hunt and pecker. Have you seen? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said pecker on it.
He's fast. He's fast.
He's fast.
Pecker.
I've never seen anybody type that way.
Did you guys take like
I took typing class. So
I do that too, but I just like Ryan has got like the hammered fingers going on that thing.
That's the way I've been typing since I was like 5.
It's impressive. We should do a game video of Ryan typing an angry blog post.
Yeah.
So wait till the next time he gets pissed.
Wait. Actually, you should see him on the comic book forums.
That's
right. The next time, Flash does something out of continuity.
My God, Guy Gardner! I'm not going to say it again. Guy Gardner could beat up the Flash. Always on that shit.
Mark Millar's a total tool. I swear, man.
So for today's agenda, we've got we're pretty much just on the usual, like now playing, but in the course of that, I got a hands-on preview.
Right. We got a preview to talk about.
Enemy territory Quake Wars.
Right.
And
I got to keep it a little short today. I'm on doctor's orders not to do this long.
And some fun and a fun little WoW news story to go along with the Burning Crusade talk.
Okay, so quickly on Burning Crusade, and I guess there's Burning Crusade coverage all over OneUp, so we don't have to beat it to death here. But I do want to say, and I mentioned this on my blog post today, I find it incredibly amazing. This is just one of those self-serving, God, PC games are great things. But isn't it amazing, really, though, that there were lines at the stores last night at midnight for a freaking expansion?
I don't think
PC game.
That's amazing. I think it's more. It's making you happy to know that maybe your job is not in the danger that you.
Actually,
you can't say one game would save our job anyway. Really,
I don't know. It could,
unless we become like WoW Gaming World or something.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't save our job. Yeah, but the industry is a
But still, there really isn't. I don't feel like there's a comparable moment in PC gaming that I can even think of where a game release on the PC was such a big deal.
An expansion
until StarCraft
and
2
even
comes along.
In the console world,
I don't know.
Because the console world, it happens with the consoles itself, but it doesn't happen that often with the games. Right. We know it's going to happen with Halo 3, obviously.
And it happened with Half-Life 2, and a lot of it was on Steam.
Yeah,
a lot of it were all on the internet. And we're all we preloaded it, and we're counting down.
Right, but long lines at regular stores at midnight for an expansion to a PC game, I think is a big deal.
I think part of it is just it's an online community, so I mean part of it is just kind of like the gather and meet up with people kind of thing too, and maybe that's a part of it. I mean, like there's BlizzCon for a reason, right?
Yeah, there is that. Still, maybe it's not a big deal.
I think the people have been level 60s for however many.
They've been waiting
months
for
doing
2 freaking years.
Dungeons, and they got a chance now to. Instead of killing the red scorpion, to kill the yellow scorpion.
Right.
By golly, they're going to do
That's why Shawn Elliott's not here. He has jury duty.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, how convenient was that? Yeah, jury duty the day that Burning Crusade comes out.
Jury duty in Outworld.
I know. He used to drive by his house.
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys.
Go on his character name. Go on log on.
Yeah, we should go see if he's online.
He's trying the case of Gilgasaur.
Let justice prevail. Send him a message.
The +5 shoulder pads of Doom. Or
actually, he sent me an email asking if he thought he could tell the judge that Burning Crusade coming out, if that was like a hardship thing that he could get out of. But that was some kind of double psych out to me. He was saying that to me so that I wouldn't think he was actually at home playing Burning Crusade.
That's just how deep he has built a
fiction. We're on to you, Sean. Come to fucking work tomorrow. Okay?
So since we're on the WoW thing, we should. Yeah. This is a quick story, and here's another. One taken from the wonderful goons at Something Awful forums.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, you've been teasing me about this all day.
This story, it's definitely, I mean, we're not going to do it justice. It's like almost like, why are we reading this? You can just click yourself. So go there. Don't want to steal their links. I mean, their clicks, but go to Something Awful forum or just search for Fork and World of WarCraft or Fork and WoW.
Okay.
And I guarantee you'll find it as your first hit.
Fork?
Okay.
Yeah.
But so basically, one of their members posted
awesome,
because, well, he was stabbed by his wife after confronting her for cybering in World of WarCraft yet again.
Oh my God.
So he has pictures of his impaled, corpulent body, his big belly with all these, fork holes and bruises.
Like in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
But the thing is, I think it was more than just a fork because, I mean...
And there was a knife afterward.
Wait, she attacked him because he caught her cybering in WoW?
Yeah.
Right. So here's the initial... I'm just going to read his initial story, and then it goes on for many, many pages, and the story becomes far more convoluted than anyone sort sort of expected.
I'm already grossed out.
So it goes, I caught my wife loving around with some douchebag on World of WarCraft again. I'll start with the quick version since this is all anybody will see in the long version anyway. We argued a lot, and I pushed her on the bed because she tried to hit me. She cried on the bed for a bit, and I screamed at her for a long while. She got up and tried to charge me again, and I pushed her back. This went on for a bit. And then she sees a mystery fork on the ground, charges, stabs at me with it, and runs out of the room. She then calls her mother and says she's going to kill me, and this is the result. Enjoy. JPEG, 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 JPEG. So, of course, half of the fun is the responses immediately. I think the very first response was like, did her skill with forks go up? But, what I wanted to know, and then it gets great. I mean, but then one of those, what the hell is the fork doing by the World of WarCraft computer?
By the bed?
Because we talked about drowning in Taco Bell wrappers, but when you have a fork next to your computer, that's a bad sign.
No, it was the fork. I'm guessing the fork was by the. I'm trying to recreate the scene like
by
CSI style.
That's even worse, dude.
No, he says he throws her on the bed. She gets up, grabs a fork, and then stabs him.
Yeah, and then she later got a knife.
Unless it was a Taco Bell spork, then it could,
Yeah. It doesn't really feel like a rational response to being confronted with the fact that you were cybering.
Yeah, it's not a fun story. As you go on to read, you can tell they've had a lot of trouble, and he
apparently it wasn't the first time
before, and at first, it says she was loving around. So people were like, well, what is this?
Yeah, what does that mean?
And then he got explicit and said that yes, there were various sexual aids.
They don't have
involved,
animations like that.
And Ventrilo wasn't. They were on Ventrilo, and she had actual things in real life that she was using, and stuff we should talk about in the podcast. But it gets as sorted as you want it to. So go check the story there.
Wow.
Yeah. But so that's for you to keep it in perspective as you go home and get out of line with your Burning Crusade.
What is wrong with you that you're doing that in a game? I mean, seriously, you could. I'm not advocating, online cyber sex or whatever, but if you're going to do it, why would you do it inside World of WarCraft?
Well, yeah, you got cartoon stuff up on the screen and people yelling like "lol noobs" and
that's hot stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? The other question is she cybering while eating her Taco Bell, or she actually
I didn't want to get there. I'm out of here. This is the first podcast I'm going to walk out on.
No.
That shit turned me on, actually. So, yeah.
It was you.
The story of the hand. You were the guy. Always has a fork in hand. She's got a bandolier of kitchen utensils.
She's got a holster.
Chewbacca style, taco sauce.
She's got chalupas hanging off on a freaking holster.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with her.
Taco sauce on the face.
Do whatever you want, honey. All right, we're done with that topic.
So we're done from that. Let me talk about the hands-on time with Quake Wars?
Yeah, we got a real live preview here now.
We do.
Yay. Well, we need the preview, intro music. Oh, that was
weak. You got any better? I can't.
We're gonna get sued by Parquet or whatever. Okay, so in the GFW issue that just came out, here's why I'm getting around this now. So for the issue that's out with the crossing cover, I went and played some Quake Wars, and since it's out, I'm able to talk about it now in additional detail. So I played 3 maps, and one of my favorite was one, I guess I was the first person to play it outside of their testers and whatnot, and it was called Canyon, and we have screens of it and stuff in the issue, and it was very cool. But Ryan, don't give me that look.
Wait, sure was Canyon. What was the one that everyone was playing at? What was the one
that was the preview that's going to change everything?
The one. Canyon is the one that I played. You played. I forget the one you played. You played Valley. They have awesome names like that. Arc is another one that's cool. But so a quick breakdown.
It's the map that changes.
The cool thing about, there's so much to talk about the game, but one of the cool things is that unlike say, I did feel this way about Battlefield 42. Every map. You just someone says the name of the map, and if you played that game, it immediately brings to mind, the whole geography of it and everything. If someone says Coral Sea, it immediately is a million times different than Stalingrad or something. One was basically all planes and carriers, the other is all tanks and infantry. But it's very much like that, and unlike 2142 or even to an extent Battlefield 2, where every map is very, very distinct. As you rotate in your server order from one to the other, you definitely feel like it's a whole other environment.
Sure.
So Arc, for example, is an Arctic environment, but the cool thing is not only does it look different, it has different assets than the other maps, but as you play through it, it has this big switch. You work your way into these giant biodome facilities, and inside, as you work your way inside, all of a sudden it's just this big greenhouse. And so then you pass from this really cold, chilly environment to a greenhouse phase, and then you work your way through that down into the more high-tech laboratory stuff, research facilities down in there. That all happens in the course of a map. Canyon, it's this great, like it says, like a Grand Canyon type combined with Monument Valley type map. And you end up working your way into this facility where it's this like subterranean lava mixed with Strog technology and everything. And maps look amazing inside or out. I mean, it's just the engine doesn't matter. It handles. Everyone knows the Doom 3 engine, which this is iterating on, handles indoor stuff like really well. But I mean, they've with all their additional tech, the mega texture and stuff, it makes the outdoors look even better. But
that's kind of a big deal, right? Because the outdoors have always looked kind of sucky. Whenever they've ventured
always
outdoors.
Very, very shady. I mean, like they're
Quake 4
in Quake 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk outside, it's like
it's like a
the
painting.
Truman Show, you know, when
you can see that skybox corners and all right.
Yeah. So that was something that's really cool about it. And then in addition, we've talked about this before. And people that have played it at QuakeCon know this, but all the maps are work the same way as Valley, where actions funnel to specific areas instead of like Battlefield, where there are 1 million cap points and someone's over here, and then they leave that, and then someone goes and undoes the work they accomplished there, and then they just keep going back and forth. So say at one moment everyone's trying to build a bridge, or everyone on one team is trying to nuke this laser shielding array so they can gain access to something, or conversely trying to defend it. And it makes it, everyone it's a lot more heated battle. It's kind of like, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, enemy territory is the same way, where it just concentrates the action, and you're not just running 1 million miles to do nothing or to just like randomly die and this and that. All that stuff's really cool. Some fun stuff I'm not sure we talked about before, like the Strog. And the Strog are definitely entirely different than the humans. I mean, the way they play. We know that they revive. Like if they kill a human, a GDF player, they can turn them into a Strog spawn host, basically, where they look like a Strog, and then the next person can pick that as a point, and then they sort of like resurrect in that character. Can come up. So
in an enemy's. In a human's character? Or?
Yeah, it changes the model, though. So here be an example. Say I'm the Strog technician, which is equivalent of a medic. I kill a human, and then I start to Strogify him. I change him, and his parts. He has metallic parts strapped to him and stuff, but he's still laying there on the ground. Then one of his teammates killed me, and I had already Strogified the body of his teammate who was sitting there, and he didn't go around and get rid of it, and just like so it was still laying there. So I immediately spawned right back. After he killed me, I spawned back in the body of his friend that he had just killed, and then killed him from behind, which is really cool. And then they have these little drones, these flyer drones that they can throw out. And you've seen these in other games where you control it in first person, and they have a camera attached, and they can self-destruct. But the fun thing is that in the course of like one objective, it works out so that a whole bunch of you are trying to fly these things through this pipe network and in to blow up some structure that the GDF guys are protecting. And then so from your play, it's kind of different. You're all using these buzz bombs, and then the GDF guys, it's like playing Duck Hunt or something. Like, oh, there's another one, shoot those, and that stuff's pretty cool.
Have you tried playing? I don't know if it was still fully implemented when I was checking it out a while back. The Infiltrator, though. Like basically the one that you can like inject
a spy.
The one you can inject yourself into a GDI soldier and then kind of like mask yourself as him.
I didn't do too much with that, but it seemed pretty close in application to what we're used to as spies,
right?
Where you basically assume the physical appearance of another character on the opposing team,
right?
And then you'll lose that disguise if you use heavy weapons, but you're able to use your melee weapons and stuff and retain your disguise. That was cool. What else I want to say about it? I was really impressed with the balance of all the deployable structures. We know those are going to be huge. And
not only that, I thought that looked even good way back at E3.
Right, and the sheer number of them. So
back when I saw it, yeah.
I mean, so like in Battlefield, you've got the commander controls the artillery, commander controls the UAV, satellite tracking, and all these things. Here it's all decentralized because they don't want any one player to have that much power to like ruin or basically guarantee the victory of a team. So it's distributed to each of the individual players, and it's almost like it's automated the way that it all connects and works together. But it's even more specific, though. Instead of just artillery, you'd have 3 types of basically artillery things. And one would be effective at if you're wiping out infantry. One is great for vehicles, and another is great for countering other deployables. And then, so not only that, so like say you go into, and you're trying to take a bridge, you're trying to secure a bridgehead and build a bridge, but the enemy is throwing up all sorts of like anti-tank turrets, anti-infantry turrets and stuff. So then you have your guys, go up on a hill, spot that, and you can launch anti-deployable missiles at it. So you're dropping these big, megaton missiles into them on that. And then they're like, okay, well, they get sick of you doing that, so they put up a shield generator, and that basically intercepts. It's like an active missile defense thing, and that will intercept what you're throwing in. So then one of your technicians has to go, not technicians, one of your, I forget the class, but one of your equivalent of a spec ops has to go in and can sabotage the shield generator. And everything has got like a counter, like very specifically and very cleanly has a counter to it. So it's not like, too, and it just is cool, like back and forth in the way that you would with the RTS, like you're playing Company Heroes, and they got an MG up, and you're like, okay, shit, I need to get a sniper. But they're like, hey, that guy's going to bring a sniper, so put a motorcycle out front. And the motorcycle catches your sniper, and so on and so forth. It very much works in that fashion.
And what I really appreciate is how it's just 2 totally asymmetrical forces, and the fact they're able to balance these two totally disparate types of forces.
Well, you're right. It is like a strategy game. Like any good strategy game can do that. That's the Shawn, listening to you talk about this, do you feel like when I hear all this and just the little I played back at E3, like, do you feel like random newbie casual shooter types are going to be able to jump in and play this kind of game, or is it going to be prohibitive in the same way that Battlefield kind of became prohibitive and certainly Counter-Strike was?
Yeah.
That if you didn't already know all this shit, it just became impossible to just come on and go, I want to shoot stuff.
Right.
I know. You just die.
I was actually I've been playing Battlefield 42 over the weekend just because I wanted to fly some World War II planes. And it's just amazing me how I was like, oh God. I remember I tried to get some people from EGM into that when it came out.
1942.
Yeah, they were just clueless. They were they couldn't.
And that's scary because that game was still pretty. I mean, that was kind of low rent. I played that a lot, and I just played as an infantry dude, and I could almost play that as a shooter.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just going from capture point to capture point, shooting guys, and I did fine in that game.
Yeah. I think they definitely want to make it more accessible, and the automated stuff helps. So, for example, if you picked, like a soldier or something, or whatever class you pick, it's going to tell you, it's going to create a mission for you and say, hey, go and destroy this turret that the enemy put up. Someone on your team, so another noob on your team is whatever class, and he puts up a radar. He doesn't need to know what to do. The computer says, hey, go put a radar up. So he does. Then that radar punches through to the other noob and says, hey, we just detected that there's a tank here and this. You should go kill them in this order. We're going to prioritize them for you. And it will highlight it on your map for you because the radar is detecting it, so it still makes sense in the course of the game. You go do that, and you're going to get extra points.
So you're going to
get more points for doing that than if you just go around and blow up any old tank or something. So it's still... And also too, they even have it so. I mean, if you're quick with the game and you want to go up and destroy this thing, what you would have to do is you pull out basically an explosive charge, you stick it to it, then you pull out another tool and you have to activate the thing, and then you run away. But they have a button; it just works a little slower. And if you're a noob, you just press one key and it will automatically do all those things for you.
Right.
But it's just not as fast as the pro who knows to weapon switch between those and hurry up and do it. But you can still. So you don't have to go up to it and say, well, what the hell is an activator? What the hell is the charge? You just press this button and it will do what you need to do on that area.
So the stick shift
I just worry about games like this sometimes, that especially as they're getting more, as they get more sophisticated and better, they're great for guys like you, who are total veterans at doing this. But I just wonder if they start getting prohibitive to people who just want to play this new game and have a good time.
They almost always are. I mean, that's a big part of this game. But interestingly, I say that the most prohibitive in that sense are really simple, like Quake 3 or something, I think, or even Quake 4 are super prohibitive because the people are so good at them that if you join, you have no chance.
That's
but
true.
What Battlefield did was it gave you the ability to get a tank and blast like 5 dudes on foot, and there's only one AT guy with them or something, or one engineer laying mines. And so even if you weren't if you weren't the guy that can just run game and knows the timing on like the quad damage respawn and stuff, you can go in and get the tank or get the plane and drop a bomb on some dudes and get a kill. But here though, one thing is it's almost got Quake. I mean, they insisted that it was actually slower than Quake 3 by a significant margin. But when you're used to playing like a Battlefield or something, Quake Wars is faster than hell. Guys running, and there's a sprint button, and there's no stamina whatsoever, so you can just do it. You just can't shoot when you're sprinting. And they currently, these are all variables that they're working on. And I made a big point. I mean, I had 3 key things. I was like, these are concerns to me. You know, what do you guys think about them?
Yep.
And they're like, you know, definitely eager to hear. But so you wouldn't even lose, like you could strafe sprint and you wouldn't even lose stamina or speed. And so what happens is in the game, when you start projecting distances, you know, say you can be as fast as you want in a corridor in a rat's maze in Quake 4 map, you know, or space bounce isn't even that big. But then when you take this giant thing and say you're looking at someone down your iron sights, and once they get to 100 yards away, that speed translates into like the movement of a gnat or of a quick moving gnat or something in front of you. You trying to, it's like trying to hit them with chopsticks, like Karate Kid style.
Ryan.
So that was curious to me. I did get used to it, but and they do counter it because the difference is in, like, obviously in a Battlefield, accuracy is just completely, you know, depending on your gun, if you're not prone and firing in bursts, you're going to be shooting across like this, you know, grapefruit-sized thing in your screen. Whereas here, it's pinpoint. It's like if you have a hyper blaster, the dot in the center of the screen is where your shots will hit. So because of that, it makes it easier too. But I do think that if they toned the speed down a little bit, it would be.
But in some way, though, but speed is also a part of like what Quake's always been about.
That's what's tough. That defines that game. But I swear, if you make a game that fast, you're making a game for those like 10 savants,
right? But I wouldn't want it to be too realistic either, too, though. Yeah, right. I mean, it is the sci-fi Quake universe too.
Well,
it doesn't need to be.
The last time I watched you play 2142, it was agonizing for me to see you try to turn around and shoot something, and that game is slow. That game is like
I haven't played a shooter since that moment because it was so humiliating. I'm just standing there playing it, and Sean's standing behind me, going like, "Oh man," like, "Jeez, I feel."
Well, it would be like if I got in Warcraft and I go and start beating on the fire monster with the fire spell or something.
I mean, but like I was,
give him energy,
my first time in that.
Give him energy.
You're healing him, man. But like I didn't even know the controls at that point. I didn't even know what I was doing in there.
Yeah,
you know.
Here's a hint. Like WASD is like they're like arrow keys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, funny.
So that was. The speed is one thing that I don't know, but it also makes it different. It makes it, you know, not Battlefield or something like that.
Yeah.
What was that? Look, we're running out of time here
already.
But
go on. Go on.
We can move on. But
no, don't worry about it.
Okay. So other cool things about that game. I'm still waiting to see how it all works out. But they're going to have a whole bunch of unlocks similar to Battlefield. Again, and that's except instead of having them persistent over time, because they don't want the good players getting better, or having an automatic, you know, ability to just destroy noobs, as you're already saying. You get them in the course of play on a single server. So, say if you do like 4 maps on the server, you're able to get them that way. You get lightning guns and stuff like that, and just tons and tons of specific attribute buffs.
But then that
far
stuff will just go away when you log off.
They showed me a master list, and there are far more like attribute buffs and stuff like that than there would be in 2142. But yeah, they're gone once you log off, and you have to choose again the next time you play.
Attribute buff sounds like an RPG, Ryan.
It does. It tracks a lot of stuff. The game actually rewards
Can I get out of here?
Like, the way you play. So if you're playing, you know, aggressively, and you are, you know, you're dealing a whole lot of damage, it's going to count like it puts a certain spin on that in the way that it gives you XP. And then if you're not only dealing a lot of damage, but you're also taking a lot of damage, and you're still staying alive in between spawns and stuff. I mean, it's going to give you even more like of a multiplier on your XP. So there's some cool stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely, people will be like trying to work out exactly how to maximize like their XP flow, aside from just killing things and doing stuff on their mission. But yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. And the bottom line is, when I play the game, I mean, that's always. I mean, you can go and explain and talk around a game and say, "Here's what it does and how it works." But the bottom line is, when I came away from it, I was like, "God, why is it so long until this game comes out?" And because I really wanted to play it, I was like, "I can't just take this home and play this all night," you know. And it's pushed back to usual for it. It's a splash damage developed game, but for that whole ensemble, instead of done when it's done, it's like you'll be playing it before QuakeCon.
Okay. So, Shawn, that was like a good, like they could have used that for the box quote.
Yeah.
Why can't I be playing this already?
Yeah.
Shawn Elliott for Windows.
I want to play this game tonight, guys.
I'm bootlegging it.
Voice activated button.
It's QuakeCon. It's like July or August.
We need to, on 2007, we got to work on getting on more box codes. We need more sort of horror-ish.
Get on those boxes.
Horror-ish.
Okay, so
what are some of the we need to.
This is the game that'll change everything.
Ones.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Well, we just had that one in Ryan. Remember, I was like pointing out it was like from some German game. It was like, this is a game that's got hack and slashing. This is an RPG of the hack and slash variety. Like that was like a review quote.
It was?
So yeah, more or less. This is an RPG of the hack and slash variety.
Wow. Oops. So they were kind of hurting for
There's our quote.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
That's like the movie review from Wireless Review or something like that.
So there's some. I think it's good to not be on. I mean, I'm not saying that because I
was thinking like more Hordem in 2007. You know, that's going to be my motto.
So every podcast, you just pick some random game and give it.
Yeah, and just like say some great things about it, so we get on the box.
Right.
We don't even have to have played it. Just be like, you know, the
this
other.
Looks like a shooter of the shooter variety.
It's shooterific.
It's blastastic.
See? Now we're working it.
Okay, here's some quotes actually here. I'm looking at.
Yeah, Shawn was treating us with some quotes before we broadcasted.
No,
what is that?
But these are like.
No, actually,
these are just quotes for Lost Planet for 360, but
okay.
Like gorgeous graphics. I won't read who they're sourced to.
Okay.
Action packed.
Are any of these Ziff Davis publications?
On either side. No.
Damn it.
We're never on.
I know, we don't.
On these things.
I'm telling you.
Capcom has another winner on its hands.
That's from Capcom.
One lean,
it says
futuristic
Mama
Capcom. It simply rocks. They need one that just says FTW.
Yeah.
And then we.
I like the ones that say best game ever. Period. In
between each one.
Yeah.
Because that Simpsons.
Were you going to read us some captions?
How old is that? 10 years old now?
Yeah.
What? The Simpsons thing? Yeah.
The best comic book
ever.
Yeah, you got to pause. Best comic book ever.
If we're going to do some phlegm, I could do that for real. You don't have to fake it over there.
I don't know. I'm not going to read you anything. What, you want me to read you captions?
Nah.
That's okay.
The box stuff is rad.
Guess what? Other game magazines stink. That was our point of that.
It says Jeff Green.
I was just we'll
put that quote on the front of our next issue.
Our competition's lame. Yeah. Do we have anything else to talk about today?
Besides the
I have
lines,
to go home soon and go to bed.
You do. Back to bed for you. Let the world know what pneumonia sounds like from the special sick bed edition.
Yeah. It was nasty. Wasn't any fun. I couldn't even play games. I played one DS
what the heck
game.
Is that?
Oh, it's my cell phone.
Whoa.
It's vibrating on the podcast table.
Sounds like the WoW player's wife's back at it.
Did we have other topics, Darren?
Well, I mean, I was trying to keep it light this month this week because I know you had to get raised home, but actually, I just caught this one last thing. You don't even have to comment on this now, but it was an interesting comment on the boards that I just caught.
Okay.
It was games you wish would be made. What would you like? What would you? And like the guy started off with it with like
for example.
Well, his example was pretty retarded. It was Canterbury Tales, the game.
Wow. Was he serious?
Isn't that called Gothic or like?
Well, no, but he was talking about like a Diablo cut. I totally just jotted this down at the last second, but it was like this guy was talking about like a Canterbury Tales like Diablo game.
Wow. How English majory of a suggestion.
I know.
That better not have been who I.
Yes, I read Chaucer in freshman year.
Don't say the name.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the name, but it wasn't our friend. I don't think.
Okay.
That creepy face staring back at me.
That's me, dude. He's listening to this.
Yeah, be nice.
Well, you don't know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about
It's
like half our readers.
Were there any other good suggestions?
I just wrote that first line down before I ran off.
That's a pretty broad topic.
Exactly.
Those are horrible threads, though, in my opinion, because they always turn into like some kid just like, some man baby remembering like the greatest hits of his childhood and wanting to bring them back. Yeah, but explaining why there are movies like Transformers, the movie coming out. You know, it's the same guy that goes like, well, I could do with the Thundercats game, followed by Tiger Sharks, maybe Jason the Wheeled Warriors and Masked Crusaders working overtime.
Actually, it hasn't been a MacGyver movie yet.
You know, there really need to be a Captain Power and the Soldiers Tomorrow.
Oh my God,
Knight Rider.
At some point, there will anything you can remember. Webster, he's gonna have a video game.
Webster.
Oh man, I was so
the whole thing is he floats on balloons and you got like
strokes.
Different strokes.
There's that Ghostbusters
you robbed a 7-Eleven
today.
Like Ghostbusters, whatever stuff's going on.
What is that? What's Ghostbusters?
Oh, the video that was floating around today on.
I didn't watch it.
Apparently being developed by some guys who don't actually have the license to.
But why did they use that specific model of like new Chrysler? I suspect. I mean, I could be proven wrong, but my hunch is that. And if it's not the case this time, it's going to happen soon. But like that, it's like a game, it's funded, it's in development, and this is the way to reveal it. So instead of the usual route, say like, hey, let's talk to 1UP or something, and let's reveal this game there, or talk to GFW and reveal it on our cover. It's like a game where you're probably not going to get a cover. So it's like, just put it out there randomly on YouTube, but don't say what the hell it is, and let people talk and spread it around and say, dude, did you see this? Let it be a mystery.
No, it's totally valid.
And then you're like, hey, by the way, then you can give